We discovered dozens of workers have misused the database to look up everything from where someone lives to their social security number. And all it takes is a few clicks of the mouse.
When State Trooper Donna Watts pulled over a fellow officer for speeding, she followed the law.
Because all she did was, she was doing her job.
Get out of the vehicle!
After she arrested him, her attorney Mirta Desir says dozens of fellow officers broke the law. They looked up her most personal information on what's called the David system.
How many times was her information looked up? Once or twice?
No, actually, it's several hundred times. Several hundred times.
Several hundred times?
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes.
And this was for non-police business?
This is non-police business.
It's an online database police use for their day-to-day jobs, to look up what a suspect looks like or to run a license plate. It's a crime-fighting tool, but because of the abuses, some have another name for it.
Facebook for cops.
Former Treasure Coast Deputy Tony Foudy was known amongst law enforcement for her fairy tale good looks, according to former deputy Salvador Westrelli.
She's attractive. Like I said, she's Snow White character for Disney World up in Orlando, and I think that had a lot to do with it.
Dozens of fellow officers looked up her most private information hundreds of times.
I was shocked. I was shocked.
Desir represents both Watts and Foudy and a dozen others.
They are looking at to, let's say, look up the girl that they find interesting who works at the bank, or they are using it in order to find information about an ex, and that's not a proper purpose.
The Contact 5 investigators discovered over the last 3 years, more than 40 law enforcement workers have been investigated from 3 local sheriff's offices for misusing the system, with excuses ranging from mere curiosity to political reasons. Former officer turned private investigator David Gregg.
The only thing that I can think of is perhaps it's a lot of officers out there with too much power at their fingertips and little fear of the consequences.
It's not just police who can tap into your information. So can workers across the state, from the tax collector's office to county clerks.
That requesting agency is really responsible for making sure it's being used properly.
The Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles is in charge of the system, but it's up to agencies to police themselves.
A red flag for me might be different for a red flag for somebody else.
There was no red flag when this Broward County court clerk employee was caught stealing social security numbers to commit identity theft.
These agencies need to put proper policies in place.
Anyone caught abusing the system can lose access or even face criminal charges.
Law enforcement officers are charged with enforcing and upholding the law, not breaking or violating it.
But we discovered in a majority of local cases, punishment was a reprimand or counseling.
I'm not going to speak to what the punishment of different law enforcement agencies or other agencies is. I can tell you what they have to tell us is that they've taken some action to ensure it won't happen again.
All of the investigations we reviewed in our area were initiated only after the victims came forward or after receiving media attention like Donna Watts.
My clients knew that something was off and they checked. The thing is, if you don't check, you would never know.
You can check with the state to see if your information has been accessed, which agency looked it up, and why. In fact, the amount of people who checked has tripled over the past year. It's pretty easy to find out. We have all that information on the front page of our website right now at WPTV.com. And Kelly and Michael, the state says it has now started a new policy. They're now going to do random audits of their own every 2 to 3 years.
Used to say it was like something out of George Orwell's 1984, but I don't think he could have imagined where we're going with privacy or the breakdown of it.
Absolutely. And it's all right there with a few clicks of the button.
And no doubt we'll be talking to lawmakers about putting up new barriers to this, too.
In the weeks ahead, absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dan.